Hello, this is Ruben Eldridge with toon Performance. I thought I would take a minute today to make a video that would hopefully answer some questions about the remote tuning process. And with remote tuning, you're not limited to where you are in the United States or in the world for that matter, as long as you have internet and a computer with HP Tuner's tuning software. We can get the job done. If you don't have it on your own, we also have a rental program in conjunction with Blue Line Performance to where we can send you out the equipment that you don't have already in your possession for a rental fee. Right here you can see I am communicating with my customer, and I'm going to send him a link for the TeamViewer software. And what that does is that allows me to remote access his computer from wherever he's at. As long as he has an internet connection, he or she, I can take over that computer and then proceed with the tuning process of the car. You'll see that here in just a little bit. Right there's the link. And once he has downloaded that, it will provide him with an ID and password that he will then forward to me and allow me access to his computer. And there's no need to worry if you've never done this before or you're not familiar with how the software works. I will be there to walk you through it every step of the way. And here he is now sending me his ID and password. All I have to do on my end is plug that in, and that allows me access to your computer. Okay, and now that we are linked together, I have a few options here for resolution and speed, and I also have a chat window that I can communicate with you constantly while we're in the tuning process. I will ask you questions like, have you pulled your stock tune file yet? What type of modifications you have? And if this is your first time operating the software, then you will more than likely run into this issue. When you install the software for the first time and first plug in your cord, there needs to be a set of drivers that don't always automatically install. And like I say, that's not a big deal. What this software was designed to do was for IT technicians to remotely solve computer problems, and that's exactly what I'll do from here. If we run into this issue, we can handle all of the driver installs after the fact, and that's what's fixing to take place here, just so you guys can get a look at what we're actually doing. The video here is sped up to save time, but it gives you an idea of how much control I do have and the abilities we have to solve any issues or problems that you have on your end, even before the tuning can commence. Like right there, we just updated his MPVI to the new software. It has its own software that needed updating. And now that we've got the drivers installed, the MPVI has been updated. Now we're going to actually gather the info from the car with the key on right there, and then now we will start the process of pulling the stock configuration or calibration from the ECM and TCM and saving that to your computer as a bone stock file reference that we can go back to at any time. If you choose to demod your car later, or if you sell the car, you always have this file to go back to load to the car if that's what you so choose to do. If you don't do that, once it's gone, it's gone. It can never be recovered, so it's always a good idea to save that. Now we're going through the licensing process. That will allow us to actually make modifications to the toon file and then write it back to your car later, making the changes permanent. Right here I'm going through and checking his software version to see if he has the latest updates. I can see something is missing. So now I'm going to inform him that we need to update his software version from hptuners.com. Alright, there we go. Now we have updated his tuning software, his MPVI cord, and his drivers are installed. We have the stock file. It is time to start tuning. Again, going through and double checking his software version and that everything is where it needs to be. I will ask you at this point, like I am this customer here, about any additional modifications to your car, getting totally familiar with your build so that I can apply the correct changes to the correct tables. CATS is short for catalytic converters. Okay, there we go. If you notice up at the top, you'll see tabs for engine, engine diagnostics, trans diagnostics, fuel system, and speedo. All of those areas will be touched and tuned according to your modifications and your preferences for what you would like the car to do. Some like a hard shifting transmission, some like it soft, some like their speed limiter removed, some don't. Fan setting changes, engine diagnostics for codes if you remove your catalytic converters or you don't have rear O2 sensors anymore. All of those areas need to be touched and fine-tuned for your specific vehicle. No two tunes are the same. Each one is custom applied to each customer and vehicle. Right here I'm going through and setting up his scanner, which will do all of the data logging and engine parameter recording for later analysis to make sure that we have applied the correct changes and everything is working as it should. Okay, right here I'm going through the channel list and making changes to narrow down the sensors that we're actually watching, adding in the one that aren't there by default, so that we get applicable data to add to our tune and make sure that we get the best tuning experience possible. Right here I'm going through making sure there's no codes, which would be CELs or trouble codes. I'm going to advise him to start the car, and then I'm going to watch for anything that I don't like, such as excessive fuel trims, negative or positive, timing advance that's in the wrong place, engine overheating. Right there I forgot to add in the throttle position sensor, so I went back and added that in. And just watching for how the car idles, if it's stable, because all of those could be, if they're off, this data here will tell me where to go apply the changes. After I've watched it come up to temperature, I will then ask him to rev the car and we will watch for idle return stability. Okay, you can see now he is revving the car up, and we will watch for the dip after it's supposed to return to idle, right here. If this dip is too extreme and it waves around a bunch, this can adversely affect your car when it comes to a stop car or truck, coming to a stop sign, braking for a red light, backing out of your driveway. If this is not stable, or to a degree of stability, then it will adversely affect your driving experience. Here I'm making the applicable changes to the toon to correct an extreme curve. And after those changes are made, we will start the process again, where he will start the car, we will let it stabilize, and then I will ask him to rev the car again, checking to see if my changes made a positive or negative impact. Here the dip and rise, or S-curve as I like to call it, is not as extreme, but it's still not where I would like it. So we're going to go through and make some more changes. After those changes are made, I'll ask him to try it again with the AC on so that the engine is under more of a load. If that S-curve with the engine under a load, such as the AC or all of your accessories on, such as the lights, windshield wipers, seat warmers, radio, rear window defroster, all of those can add different amounts of load to the engine at idle. So if I don't like that, I'll go back and make some more changes, and as you can see, once we've come to the end of that S-curve is very, very small in comparison. So now I will go through and ask him to get ready for his test drive. And your test drive can consist of many things. In his case, it'll be 20-30 minutes of driving, stop and go, interstate driving, highway driving, driving it like you're going to the store. And in his case, I will also allow him to go ahead and make some wide open throttle pulls. Normally you save wide open throttle pulls until later on in the tuning process, but his situation allowed for that to go ahead and be on his first data log. Now there's also two ways that we can do data logs when you're driving. One is you can have a mobile hotspot or hotspot from your phone, and I can stay connected with you and follow you down the road basically. Or you can contact me when the test drive is done, and I will link back up with you when you get back to your house or wherever you are getting Wi-Fi signal from. And either way, they work just as well. The only difference is if you have a hotspot and you run into a problem or you have a question, we can address it immediately instead of 20 minutes later when you get back home. Other than that, this is basically how it goes. We're nearing the end of his tune here. I'm applying the final changes and letting him know that he is good to drive it for a couple of days, and feel free to contact me again if he feels like he has any issues or problems or questions or anything that we need to address now that he's had time to live with it for a few days, just to make sure it's going to drive well to the gas station, to work, and do well at the track. Well guys, this has been a familiarization video. If you have any questions, please contact me. If you'd like to see any other types of videos, please let me know in the comments. And thank you for choosing eToon Performance.